When we talk about the emotional shifts happening in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, most of the focus lands on Georgie and Mandy. But one of the most quietly powerful transformations in the background is Mary Cooper's. And the truth is, her evolution might be just as important to the stability of this marriage as anything Georgie or Mandy does. To understand Mary's growth, you have to look at where she started in Young Sheldon. She was a fiercely devoted mother, deeply religious, protective to a fault, and emotionally invested in holding her family together. But that version of Mary existed inside a structured household. Even when things were chaotic, she was the emotional authority, the decision-maker, the anchor. In Georgie and Mandy's marriage, that dynamic changes. Mary is no longer the central authority in Georgie's life. And that shift is not small. For years, she worried about Georgie, his grades, his choices, his direction. She often viewed him as impulsive, as someone who needed guidance. Now she's forced to confront a reality where he's a husband and a father. That requires her to step back. And stepping back isn't easy for someone whose identity has been built around stepping in. The truth about Mary's evolution is that it's rooted in control versus trust. Early on, you can sense that instinct to manage, to correct, to protect, especially when it comes to Mandy. Their relationship didn't begin under calm circumstances. There was judgment, concern, even tension. Mary's expectations for her son's future didn't exactly align with how things unfolded. But over time, something shifts. Mary begins to realize that her role isn't to supervise Georgie's marriage, it's to respect it. That transition from active authority to supportive presence marks real growth. It's subtle, but it's powerful. Instead of correcting Georgie in front of Mandy, she starts choosing when to stay silent. Instead of questioning every decision, she begins offering advice only when asked. That restraint signals maturity. There's also a deeper emotional layer at play. Mary has already endured loss and upheaval. That kind of life experience changes a person. It softens some edges and sharpens others. In this new chapter, she's not just a mother protecting a teenage son. She's a grandmother watching a new family form. That perspective shift naturally reshapes her priorities. What makes her evolution compelling is that it isn't perfect. Mary still has strong opinions. She still reacts. She still struggles with letting go. But growth doesn't mean becoming passive. It means learning when involvement helps and when it harms. In Georgie and Mandy's marriage, too much parental involvement could easily destabilize things. Young marriages need room to fail, argue, and reconcile on their own. If Mary constantly intervened, she would unintentionally undermine Georgie's confidence and Mandy's sense of belonging. Instead, we see glimpses of her choosing support over control. Her faith also plays a role in this evolution. In earlier years, her beliefs often guided her responses in rigid ways. Now, there's a more reflective tone. Less immediate judgment. More quiet prayer. Less public correction. That doesn't mean she abandons her values. It means she applies them with more compassion. The truth is, Mary's growth mirrors Georgie's in a different way. Just as he's learning to become a husband, she's learning to become a mother of an adult. That transition is rarely discussed in sitcoms, but it's deeply relatable. Parents don't automatically know how to release control. It's a skill learned over time. Her relationship with Mandy is especially telling. Early tension could have solidified into permanent friction. But instead, there's gradual understanding. Mary begins to see Mandy not as the woman who complicated her son's life, but as the woman standing beside him. That shift from skepticism to cautious respect changes the emotional temperature of the entire family dynamic. And here's why this matters. Stability in a marriage isn't just about the couple. It's about the ecosystem around them. If Mary were constantly critical, Georgie would feel torn. Mandy would feel judged. Resentment would build. But as Mary evolves, she becomes less of a destabilizing force and more of a quiet pillar. She doesn't fix their problems. She doesn't solve their arguments. But she creates space where they can figure things out without added pressure. There's something deeply human about that kind of growth. It's not dramatic. It's not flashy. It's a series of small decisions, choosing not to comment, choosing to listen, choosing to trust. In many ways, Mary's evolution reflects a broader theme in the franchise, letting go without losing love. She still cares deeply. She still worries. But she's learning that love doesn't always mean intervention. Sometimes it means faith in the people you raised. The truth about Mary Cooper and Georgie and Mandy's marriage is simple but profound. Her growth isn't about changing who she is. It's about redefining her role. And in doing so, she might be giving Georgie and Mandy exactly what they need most: room to build something on their own.